Yep.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Brian Gable with the UNI Alumni Association, and we're excited you've joined us. I know we've got some donors on the call too, so thank you so much for your support of CSBS. We can't do the great work without you guys, and we've got some great updates from Brenda Bass and Elaine Eschbaugh here. I was a little bit disappointed. I thought somebody would take the chance and put a Halloween costume on, but I guess we're all a little conservative this first one, but maybe next time. But with that, I'm pleased to introduce Dean Bass, and she'll give a brief overview of the college, and we'll have a chance for questions at the end. But if something really piques your interest in the moment, raise your hand or put something in the chat. We'll be monitoring it. But again, thank you guys so much for all of your support of UNI and Dean Bass.
Thanks, Brian. I just wasn't sure I wanted to be filmed in posterity in some sort of costume, so I uh, I passed on it today. I'm going to put just a few slides up. There we go. Now let me get the presentation going. All right, there we go. Can people see the opening image? Great. Well, welcome, as Brian said. I know that I know some of you, but some of you I haven't had a chance to meet in person yet. I'm Brenda Bass. I've been Dean of the college for roughly 13 years now. I've been here at UNI almost 30 years. It's a very special place. I love interacting with both our current students, but also our alumni, and just learning what all your different journeys have been. And it's extra special too because my two kids are alums of the university. And I've seen firsthand as a parent what the educational opportunities here do for our students. But I just wanted to give a little bit of overview of some big doings that have been happening, some updates within the college, cutting edge news. And then I'm going to pass it over after I give these updates to Dr. Elaine Eschbaugh, who's going to talk a bit about some specific gerontology and aging initiatives that we have going on. So many of you have probably seen in our various news updates or our college magazine that we have the School of Health and Human Sciences now within CSBS. And that is meant to focus on workforce development needs here in the state of Iowa and beyond. And in particular, we launched a new nursing program. And I'm proud to say that we have over 100 students enrolled in that nursing program right now. We are still in the process of working our first cohort through the program. The first cohort is due to graduate in May of 27, so still a year and a half away. But each semester we've been enrolling a new cohort of students, and we expect that program to just keep growing. It's shown huge demand from student interest, and so we expect it to continue to expand. We also are finishing up on phase 3 of the renovation of the ITTC building where nursing is housed, setting up state-of-the-art both equipment but also settings that mimic what our students will face out in the workforce. So they're getting hands-on experience that will translate straight to their careers once they graduate. We're also exploring other health-related majors and hope to have some news on that in the coming year. In the meantime, at the graduate level, our MSW program and our mental health counseling programs, they're at the master's level. They are doing great in terms of their enrollments, and they're helping meet a huge need within the state of Iowa where there's a real need for mental health professionals. So they're also meeting a specific workforce need out there in the health arena. We also just launched this last year a new Center for Civic Education at the request of the Board of Regents and the state legislature. Our center is focusing on both faculty development internally, looking for ways to encourage civil discourse among our students, especially surrounding sensitive topics. And then, given our legacy here at UNI as a teacher preparation college, we also will be focusing on developing lesson plans for K-12 teachers across the state of Iowa surrounding civic education. And we just received news about a month ago that we received a $1.2 million grant from the Federal Department of Education. And so we are very excited to have landed that to move forward with this particular initiative. Our director, our newly hired director of that center is awesome, Dr. Allison Rank. She has hit the ground running, and expect to hear a lot of great things for updates in the future. And then just some quick updates on some reorganizations based on some new synergies that have been found across programs. Our criminology program has now moved into a new department with political science. They are going to be called, pending Board of Regents approval, the School of Public Affairs and Service. They will also be having the Masters in Philanthropy and Nonprofit Leadership join them after the board approval. Then our sociology program will be joining geography with the plan to be in a new department called the School of Community, Society, and Geographic Innovation. And then finally, the most recent reorganization that is still in the early stages is the Department of Philosophy and World Religions plans to join our Department of History to find new synergies across the curriculum there. So all of this is a lot of change, but faculty are excited about it, and students will find new opportunities when we bring all these groups together. Now with that, I want to pass it along to Dr. Elaine Eschbaugh, because we also have a huge amount of initiatives going on that both support our students and give them hands-on learning opportunities, but also help support out into the community, applying our expertise to help our community be a better place. And so, Elaine, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Dr. Bass. I am also an alum of the University of Northern Iowa, and I graduated in 2000, and Dr. Bass was one of my professors when I was a student in the Family Services program. So back in the good old days. So this is fun for me to talk to alumni. So Brenda, you can go ahead and take it to the next slide here. So today I'm going to talk to you about our dementia-related initiatives. So we do have the Dementia Simulation House, which maybe some of you have heard of, but along with that, we do have an outreach and education program. So I will talk specifically about the Simulation House as we start here. And I always have to kind of turn off the chat for myself, because otherwise I will see the questions you ask and I will get so excited and I will totally go on a tangent. So I'm going to trust that someone on our team, if there is a question and a good time to throw in a question, I'm going to trust that somebody's going to throw that question at me. That would be fantastic. So I started the Dementia Simulation House in 2022, February of 2022, with the support of Dr. Bass and our department. And really also with the support of our community. This is to me a big community connection here, and I'll talk about that throughout. So the Simulation House was started because I really got sick of people saying things like, you know, you work in dementia, Elaine. My grandma had dementia and it was so hard for my grandpa. And that's absolutely a true statement without a doubt, but no one really said it's hard for my grandma. No one really seems to talk as much about how it impacts the person living with dementia. So I felt like we sometimes have a little bit of a lack of empathy for that person who has dementia, because it's just hard for us to put on the shoes of someone whose life, we don't really understand, or we don't really understand what they're going through. And dementia is a lot more than memory loss. So dementia can impact anything that the brain controls, and that's well, that's pretty much everything. So one of the things that dementia impacts is sensation and perception, and that's one of my areas of specialization within dementia. So when you come to the Dementia Simulation House, we will alter 3 of your 5 senses. So we will alter your sense of hearing, touch, and sight, so that you can experience what it might be like for someone with dementia to interpret the world around them. So there's not necessarily, say, anything wrong with your eyes if you have dementia, but the problem is in your brain, where your brain struggles to interpret what your eyes are seeing, for instance. I always say we do not simulate any changes to your sense of taste or smell, mostly because you would not send your friends if we tried to do something like that. I do have ideas of how we could do it, but it would not be pleasant. So we're just going to step away from that for now. So we have done a lot of research on simulation education in other settings. It's interesting now because if you have been to visit our nursing program, you know they also have a simulation lab. It's an entirely different type of simulation lab, but also an example of how simulation tends to be incredibly effective in learning for college students and really for all of us. And as I always say with the simulation house, I can teach you more in 5 minutes of doing the simulation that I can in a whole month of lecturing you and talking about dementia. And I'm assuming the same is probably true if we talk about the simulation lab in nursing. So I love that UNI has invested in more simulation education. We've also done a lot of research at the house of what is effective in the way we teach dementia through simulation. And that's been a work in progress. We continue to change our methods. We continue to change our curriculum. And we also have a lot of different approaches that we take based on the group that comes through the simulation. So it is open to the public. If you have not been through the Dementia Simulation House, or even if you have, we would love to have you. You can actually book online, or you can contact us if you have a small group. We can accommodate your group to come together, or you can just book online and you come with a community group. So I should double check this number. I think now we've had over 4,000 participants since we opened in February of 2022. This year so far, our goal was, my students' goal was to have 1,000 people come through, and we're at about 1,100, I believe, as of mid-October. So we have hit that goal. We have most months upwards of about 140 participants now. Not so much in like December and January, and we're a little bit slower in, well, we weren't that slow this summer. I'll take that back. But over the holidays, we'll be a little bit slower, but that's about what we have most months for people coming through to do the simulations. Our schedule is 4 to 8 simulations a week, and a simulation is going to take us about an hour. We also do dementia friends and dementia friendly trainings. We train businesses and organizations to be dementia friendly, which is really cool. So if you have a business or an organization and you have 50% or more of your employees do a training with us, it's only a 1-hour training. We can designate you a dementia-friendly business or organization. And Sunny is on today, and she's also involved in those efforts. She is a Dementia Friends champion, and we're really excited that she's taken an interest in that. So one of the most rewarding parts of this, I thought it would be educating our community and the college students who come through the house. And that is incredibly rewarding, don't get me wrong. But I think probably the most rewarding part of this to me has become the student team members that we have who do the simulations with me and who do the presentations and do the education. So we've had, since we opened, a total of 13 students work with us. We have 5 who are on our team right now, and they are from majors mostly in CSBS. Mental health counseling, kinesiology, family service, gerontology. We've had several from communicative disorders, which is wonderful because they will go on, many of them have gerontology minors, and they will go on to be speech language pathologists with an expertise in aging. So we bring kind of a unique feature to our SLP program here at UNI with offering this. You can go ahead and switch, Brenda. In fall of 2024, we started a cognitive screening clinic. We do use the word cognitive screening, or that term. We actually prefer the term brain checkup because we think cognitive screening seems a little bit intimidating, and really this is a free and confidential brain checkup. So yes, we do screen you using a measure we actually use the SLUMS, which is not a great acronym, but is the St. Louis University mental status exam. It's a very quick measure. We talk to you about what you think is happening with your brain. We also do an assessment for depression, stress, anxiety, substance use, because many of those things are all kind of tangled together. So this is something that people can schedule. And we're not going to diagnose anyone with Alzheimer's or another type of dementia, but what we're going to do is we're going to give you that information and you take it with you, and we can advise you or make a recommendation on whether this is something we think you need to talk to your doctor about. Another thing that we're very passionate about that I'm really trying to push, so if you have any connections, let me know, is that we need to be doing this regularly. So my example is always, I turned 45 and I went to the doctor and they said, okay, we need to get you scheduled for a colonoscopy. And I said, oh, no, wait, you don't have to have a colonoscopy until you're 50. And they said, oh, no, they just changed it to 45. Oh, well, wonderful. What a great gift to me. But did I want to do it? No, but I just did it. I just scheduled it and I went and I did it. But why don't we do that with cognitive screenings? I mean, it's much, much less invasive, obviously, than a colonoscopy. So why are we not recommending that? And I'm just throwing this out there. After the age of 40, maybe you go every 5 years to do a cognitive screening. And then after 50, maybe it's every 2 years. And the value of that, even if you're not having any problems, is there's a baseline. So if someone were to come to me and get a cognitive screening and we give them that screening and we say, hey, look, you got a 19. Well, what does a 19 really mean if I didn't know what you had last year, 2 years ago, or 10 years ago? It doesn't really mean anything. So we encourage people to come even if they don't necessarily see that they're having any types of problems. We do this right now at the Dementia Simulation House, and we have had quite a few pop-up locations in Northeast Iowa, particularly through senior meals programs through the Area Agency on Aging. We have been to some of our local libraries to do these as well. So we are more than willing to travel and do a few in a day. We do schedule a whole hour with a person. And that is much longer than, say, if you were to go to your doctor and say, hey, I'd really like you to do a cognitive screening on me. We take a little bit of extra time. We make people try to feel comfortable. That's really important to me. So on the right of your screen, you will see Elsie. And Elsie is one of our mental health counseling graduate students. And one thing I will say about Elsie is, she's going to hold me to things, because I sent out an email one day last summer and I said, it was a forward. I said, hey, maybe at some point we could consider doing like a cognitive screening clinic. And then 3 weeks later, she came to me. She had done all the research, had, exactly the logistics of how we would set it up. And there we went. So this is her on the first day of our cognitive screening. Our first person was coming to do the screening. It was raining, you can see, but she was pretty pumped and very proud, as she should be, of this program. Go ahead, Brenda. We do have a caregiver support group that is for partners of those living with dementia. We hold that weekly on Tuesdays every week, which is unusual because a lot of them are monthly, but we do meet every week. This is a win-win because it is facilitated by our mental health counseling graduate students. Our undergrads also participate in this under the direction of our faculty. So students get to practice their skills. And I always will talk about how when we have, and sometimes it's a man who does not want to come to support group because he doesn't need support group, it's not for him. We will sometimes frame this as, well, the thing about our support group is it's really also supporting our students because they need to learn what it's like to live as a caregiver. They need to learn what it's like to be affected by dementia. And then sometimes people will come to support group and they will say, well, I don't know if I really need to be here, but if it helps the students. So that's kind of our trick that we can get people to come in, but our support group takes a tremendous interest in our students. And that's a really cool connection to be able to see in terms of connecting with our local community. Within all of our programs in dementia outreach education and the simulation, we use these 3 E's, empathy, education, and empowerment. And we also think about that in terms of the students that we train, our UNI students who work with us at the house. We meet them where they're at in coming in as undergraduates or graduate students. We educate them about dementia, and then we empower them to go out into the community and the workforce with skills, not just to work with people who have dementia, but just to work with a lot of different populations, whether they're going to be physical therapists, speech language pathologists, psychologists, gerontologists, or we have someone who did go on to become a nurse. We also have regular Q&A with Dr. Eschbaugh. so that our caregivers can meet with me and ask any questions that they think I can be helpful to answer about their loved one in dementia. All right, next. So I'm assuming I am, this is my hot off the press news. So I'm assuming I'm okay to share this. I'm just going to go for it, and hopefully I won't get any backlash here. But we are super excited because we've just confirmed that we will be getting an additional space on campus. We will not be giving up the dementia simulation house, but we have really outgrown what we do at the house. With our educational space that we have at the house, we have a living room. Probably technically it seats about 9, but we can seat 23 in it, with folding chairs and, you know, sometimes some students on the ground and on the floor. But we're going to have an additional space where we can do outreach and education programs. So when we talk about doing our Dementia Friends programming and our dementia friendly business and organizations trainings, we can use this new space. It will also be our cognitive screening clinic. We will be able to put together a living room style support group space for our caregivers, not only to have that time for support group, but also to have some time to visit before and after support group and make connections. Dr. Henke is the coordinator of our graduate level mental health counseling program. She is my associate at the house. She's been tremendously helpful. And sometimes we do consultations with families. So she brings the counseling background, I bring the gerontology and dementia background to help families. We would also like to have an area where we can mock it up for skills training. So for instance, if you're a hairstylist and you come to us, we can have a space where we kind of demonstrate what you could do to make a dementia friendly hair salon or a dementia friendly waiting room at a doctor's office. And if you have come to the Dementia Simulation House, you do realize that everything we do there is in a space that is incredibly not dementia friendly by default, by intention. So when you do the simulation, you are in a typical Midwestern home. It is not meant to do you any favors in terms of interacting with that environment. But we do want a space where we can show you what some dementia friendly products and designs are. And we're very fortunate to be able to work with our interior design program, who will work with us in that space and potentially have some student designs that will be on display of things that might be dementia friendly. So after looking at many spaces on campus and a few zigs and zags, we will be in Bartlett Hall with this new space. As the dominoes go at the university, someone is in there, actually academic advising is in there right now because they're renovating their space. So they will be moving out over the holiday break. And then soon after that, we should be moving in. The renovations that I would like to see before we get in there, and if you know me or you visited with me, these probably won't surprise you. The first is the carpet. So there's a lot of carpet. Like if you go to a hotel, you will see carpet that is not dementia friendly. It's very patterned, it's very wavy, it has a lot of designs, and that's really stressing or taxing for the dementia brain. And unfortunately, this space right now has carpet that kind of looks like that. And we're going to have people who are coming in for cognitive screenings and consultations. So we're going to change that carpet out to make it dementia friendly. There's a few other changes we want to make this space dementia friendly, so that when people with dementia or if people come for cognitive screenings, we can make them as comfortable as possible and also use that to show other people what a dementia friendly environment looks like. So I'm going to stop there. I know there have been a few things popping up in the chat. Is there anything in particular that I should be addressing, team?
Elaine, Brenda covered that we're the only 4-year degree in the state. How many approximately nationwide gerontology programs are there?
You know, I'm going to a conference in a couple weeks, and I would probably be able to give you a more up-to-date answer after that conference. But I'm going to say there's about maybe 45 to 50 last I checked. And that includes gerontology, aging studies. I will add one more thing about that I think is really important. My partner at the Dementia Simulation House, Dr. Henke, who does head up our mental health counseling program, she and I have worked together to create a gerontological distinction for mental health counseling so that some of our counseling students will graduate with expertise in working with older adults, which seems like it should not be a rare thing, but it really is. So if you think about all the counseling programs where they offer child therapy and play therapy, there's probably 2% that offer anything that specialize in aging compared to what you see for those programs that focus more on children.
Ryan, Michael Wright here. Got a question of Elaine.
Hi.
Hello. This program's always fascinated me, and the fact that it's the only one in the state of Iowa is just absolutely super. It strikes me that there might be some link, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the nursing program and your
Yes,
program. Would
absolutely.
you comment on that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the nursing program being, well, let me start with this. We already have had several nursing students who have picked up minors in gerontology. So we see that as a definite link, that it's really hard in if you're going to be in nursing, it's interesting, because I think, it's really hard to get away from old people if you're going to be in nursing. You know, and it's just one of those things that I think as we move forward, that is going to be even more and more true, looking at the demographics in our society. So absolutely, we have had some informal links already, and we're working on within their curriculum how to be a little bit more structured. So, you know, and I will say this, I have been very excited with the addition of the nursing program. We were able to bring back our aging and health course. So an aging and health course that had been offered sporadically for the last 15 years. And now that we have the nursing students as well who will take that course, it can be offered more frequently. So I'm really thrilled for that for gerontology students. So just the opportunity to develop courses that can benefit both groups of students is tremendous. And I will also say that as much as, you know, I am so proud that we are the only gerontology program in the state, but we don't have enough students, and students aren't graduating high school thinking about careers in gerontology. It just really doesn't happen. So we don't have a lot of times, if I want to start a new course, we don't have enough gerontology students to just say, we're going to start this course just for gerontology students, because we don't have enough of them. But now that we have those nursing students as well, I'm really excited to come up with some new and innovative course options that will interest both of those groups of students.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Brenda, I know you mentioned enrollment is up, you know, certainly on nursing and lots of other things, but you know, big news this fall, right before school started. How's the neighboring state rate affecting you guys so far? Probably a little bit early to see, but you know, just as we've had some admission days and some of that, what's kind of some early feedback on that?
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, we've seen, at least across our majors, definite increase in students from the contiguous states coming to visit days as well as applications. It's still early in the cycle, obviously, but big increases. And even with nursing specifically, we've seen quite a few people coming from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois, where we expect to see the largest numbers from. So we're already seeing positive impacts from President Nook's initiative there.
And is that a result of the tuition parity with the surrounding state or contiguous states?
Yes,
Or
so
go ahead.
President Nook's initiative that is being supported through our foundation, our Board of Trustees. It allows for any students, new students from the surrounding 6 contiguous states to be able to come to UNI and pay in-state tuition, which makes us very affordable and very competitive when you look at what the average tuition rates are in many of our contiguous states at their public institutions. So we think we're good value and very affordable.
Well, I'm sure we can stay on. I do want to be cautious of the time. I know people's schedules, but again, thank you guys so much. I'm sure Brenda and Elaine can stay on a little bit more if we've got other questions, but
Happy
we
to.
look forward to doing these more frequently. We thank you for your support, and go Panthers.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for
Thank
coming.